Hi, it's Luana from Equilter.com. Well, we had so many nice responses to our live streaming last week that we thought we'd bring you another one. And I'm going to call this eQuilter story time, but you know, my stories always connect to fabric. So we'll have a little fabric, a little fun, a little stories, and give us your comments. And if you have some questions or feedback that you would like to give us, then we can kind of put that on the file for next time. So this week I wanted to show you one of our all-time most popular fabrics. And I know you guys love to see this because it's just so gorgeous. And it's a two-part fabric. And so there are a lot of possibilities in terms of using it as a panel or cutting it up, which, you know, quilters love to do, but this one would be really hard to cut up. And we're going to be posting links to this. This is the first time we've worked with this particular format. So we're going to, Paul is over there. He's going to be attempting to put some links in the chat. It may or may not work. We'll see what happens. Anyway, this is the fabric. And, you know, you may recognize this. It has the Northern Lights. And it's so big I can't even show you the whole thing. Yep. And whoops, I'm caught up on my microphone. And at the very bottom, it has this beautiful silhouette of forest with kind of an aurora borealis glow behind it. And why do you guys love this so much? Well, maybe some of you have already bought this, and you can share with the rest of us why you bought this and what you're doing with it. But you know, the other reason that this is so popular is because of the colors. So these kind of analogous colors, cool colors like turquoise and blue and green and purple and lavender, I would say that group of colors is our most popular group of colors. And so, for instance, you know, some fabrics that go with that are also in this color family is this swirling, it kind of looks like an aurora borealis. It's not too far from that theme, but it has little speckling of gold metallic. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this right now, but digital fabrics do not have metallic on them. They have digital fabrics are printed, you know, through a digital machine, and there's no way to do an extra screen on top yet. Maybe someday they will come up with that, but if you see a beautiful fabric that has like a zillion colors and lots of detail, but no metallic, there's a really good chance these days that it's a digital fabric. However, if it has metallic on it, 99.9% of the time, that is going to be a screen printed fabric. So I will show you another screen printed fabric that has metallic that could coordinate with that beautiful aurora borealis code or fabric. And I see that Paul has been putting some codes up, some product codes. So this one, you see the gold metallic? This one definitely is a screen print with metallic. So a funny thing has happened as digital fabrics have become more popular, and there are more and more of the fabrics that we carry because, you know, they're so detailed and they're so luscious with all the colors. We've kind of started to miss the metallic fabrics, haven't we? So here at eQuilter, you know, we love digital fabrics. We love that there are no limitations on the artwork and the repeat. And, you know, we're enjoying all of that color and artistic detail. And then we realized, what are we missing? We're missing the metallic overlay. Now, if you have a project that's all digital fabrics, how can you bring the gold metallic in? Well, you can use gold metallic thread. If you're really artistic and for some of you it might feel a little courageous, you could do some painting on your fabric with gold metallic paint. And of course, there are options like beads and things like that. And these days, there's so many different kinds of threads that are available in gold metallic that you can do machine quilting, you can do hand quilting. So I just want to give you some ideas to kind of turn on your creative juices here. Here's another fabric that has been really, really popular. And you'll see here it's this leaf border again with a metallic overlay. And this is, let's see, this is a single border. So it's one of those lovely panels that runs by the yard. So that's something that would coordinate with that Aurora Borealis. And, you know, if you're a flowery kind of person, let's see, I'm taking something off the screen here. If you're a flowery kind of person, you just have to have flowers in everything that you make. This is a beautiful border print stripe that you could use as a border for that. And again, this is all those beautiful, cool, analogous colors with gold metallic. But you know, along these color lines, one of the things that I really love is the idea of a starry sky. And our family used to travel to Hawaii every year to see Paul's parents. And I would take the kids and we would always go snorkeling. And a lot of times we'd also go out on the beach at night to look at the stars, especially if we could drive over to the side of the island without a lot of light so we could really see the incredible star show. And sometimes we would see the turtles at night in the moonlight, which was really special. And so for me, these colors really remind me of going snorkeling at Hanauma Bay in Hawaii. And we just got these back in. And we have two colors of this. And here's the lighter color. And actually, you know, when you get two different colors of the same fabric, that can be quite an interesting effect to cut them up and put them side by side. It's the same design, but you have light and dark, or maybe you have complementary colors. So our many trips to Hawaii is part of our story because I don't know if you realize this or if you ever thought of it, but my name is Hawaiian. That's because my dad was in the Navy on Midway and spent a lot of time in Hawaii in the 50s. And then he got married, and I was the first kid that came along in our family. And so I got the Hawaiian name. So when I married a guy whose family had retired in Hawaii, and I started going with the kids to Hawaii every year, it was really special. And for those of you, you know, we have a lot of customers in Hawaii, and we have a very special long-term connection with you for that reason, because we've come to Hawaii for so many years. Actually, lately I'm not coming because Fred and Frida, his parents are now resting in Punch Bowl Memorial Cemetery because his dad was a World War II vet. But all those years that we came, we had an aunt and an uncle, and Paul's older sister and her kids lived there for many years. And we would go. Our special treat was on early, just before dawn, we would meet Uncle Jerry and Aunt Laura to go snorkeling at Hanauma Bay. And actually, they were in the paper. Some of you may have seen articles about them, the octogenarians who went snorkeling at Hanauma Bay. And the kids would put on their snorkels and they would go out and float around on the coral reef. And I think these days the coral reef is really pretty destroyed, but back in those days there was still more of a coral reef, and we would go out and see these amazing rainbows of fish, you know, floating beneath us. And you know, when you're snorkeling, it's just this silent, bubbly world, and the sun would start to come up and the sunlight would filter through the waves of the water and just create this very magical atmosphere. And I know my kids will never forget that. That was one of those, you know, lifetime experiences that you just, you hold in your cellular memory, what it's like to float among the sea turtles and the fish and sometimes a baby shark. So anyway, I just wanted to share that memory with you. I have some very short, small memories of seeing the Aurora Borealis from when I've gone up to photograph the polar bears. And if you subscribe to our newsletter, you may be aware that I'm leading one more trip. We're going peak season. Because the last two trips I took, I always go at the beginning and end of the season because quilt market is right in the middle. But I'm sure you're aware that the population of polar bears has been decreasing. So I said, you know what, I'm going to take one more trip. I'm going the week right before quilt market, and we're going to go during peak season to Churchill. where we are guaranteed to see more bears. And if you are not aware of my previous trips, if you go to Flickr.com/Luana Rubin and then go to albums, you can see photos of my trips to Churchill to see the polar bears, and also my recent trip up to the Katmai National Park in Alaska to photograph the brown bears, which are basically big fat grizzly bears who are eating 90,000 calories worth of salmon out of the river, and they have absolutely no interest in humans, fortunately, because they love their salmon diet. So maybe sometime I will also share that story with you. Anyway, in my travels to 49 different countries around the world and our 23 years of travel and selling fabrics with Equilter.com, I have lots of stories, and I'm getting to that point in my life where people are always asking me to share my stories. So that's what I'm going to do. I just thought, we've been separated by the pandemic. We really miss seeing each other in person. I hope that I get to see more of you later this year. We don't know what's going to happen with the pandemic. But I miss you, and I'm going to just go over and look at chat here. Let's see. I'm not seeing any. Okay, anybody want to ask a question or make a comment in chat before I finish up? Oh, thank you, Joan. We love you too. Thanks for visiting. And Neris, yes, glad you enjoyed the fabrics. My job, that I see it, is just to give you guys a little creative boost, give you some ideas, show you some beautiful colors and beautiful fabrics, and give you some ideas, and maybe just give you that boost you need to get back into your studio and go through your stash and start cutting up fabrics and thinking about your next project. I am working on 2 big quilts right now, and as I finish them in the next few weeks, I'll be sharing some of that with you also on my studio. So make sure that you have subscribed to our whatever platform you're looking at. We're streaming on several platforms today. We just want to see where our customers and our fans are and who is responding to the information and inspiration that we're sharing with you. So that's it for today. Sending out my love to all of you, and I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll probably do one more of these later this week. I will say that on Friday, I'm driving to Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm going to an event at the museum, and I'm actually going to be giving my lecture for CQC, which is the Colorado Quilt Council. That will be at 10 a.m. or a little after 10 a.m. Mountain Time, but I will actually be doing that lecture via Zoom from the museum in Lincoln, Nebraska, the International Quilt Museum, which is pretty cool, I think. I'm excited. So I'll be in transit Friday. Maybe you'll hear from me on Thursday, and I'll be posting from the museum on the weekend. Okay, thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye.